Shop Talk with TnT. This is Tad Peterson with LakePlace.com, Brothers Realty.
Trent and I use Farmers Insurance and I use Agency.
Today we are here with Pam and Hoyt Rose of P&H Cattle Company, started in 1996. Welcome, guys.
Of course. P&H Horse and Cattle.
P&H Horse and Cattle. Horse is probably the bigger part of this.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you guys started P&H Horse and Cattle Company in 1996.
Correct.
Bought this place in 1998.
No, 96 we bought it.
Bought it in 96.
Yep.
Married in 94, bought
94,
this in
yep.
96. Okay.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about what you do here.
So what we are is a full-service horse training facility. So we primarily house Arabian and half Arabian horses, and we train them for Western pleasure, hunter pleasure, and the reining and working Western division. And we train them for other people, and then we travel a show circuit all over the country and show their horses, and some of the owners show them also.
So not your horses, people pay you
Correct.
to train their horses and show their horses.
Correct. So everything in the barn here, there's 27 horses in the barn right now, and everything in the barn is here in training. So they pay a fee every month to cover the board and the training, and then we get them ready for them to show and for the horse shows.
Trent, maybe you're an expert on horses. I'm not. So I mean, I'm pretty.
I love horses.
Pretty low level of horse
Yeah.
knowledge here. So I mean, so they buy the horse, or sometimes you find a horse for
Yes.
them to buy, and then so do you take a look at the horse and go, that one looks good for this, or
Correct. You know, a lot of times people bring you a horse.
Yep.
They've purchased a horse, they want work done on it, so they reach out to us, bring it, we do an evaluation, tell them, this is what you got, where do you want to go with it? And or you get the call and says, hey, I want a horse. I have them come out, ride a few times on different horses to see what their abilities are and see what they would be best at in riding and such. So then we go out and find horses and
pick it on the car lot.
it is. We travel all over the country, you get lots of videos, and you start picking what would be suitable for that rider.
What are you looking for when a person's looking for a horse? Like, okay, you watch them ride. What are you looking for?
The biggest thing we look for is their balance on a horse. Can they ride well? Do they have good seat? Do they sit in the saddle well? Their hands and such. Confidence is a big thing.
So white knuckles are bad.
Well, like today, I thought you should ride a horse during this. You seem to not think that's a
No,
great
I don't.
idea, so.
They don't have any donkeys here, so kind of know.
So no, it's like anything when you're looking for, like when you guys are doing sports with kids, you find what suits them, what's going to be the best their division.
So you're
to
talking
show.
about the rider.
Yes.
What they're suited for.
What their
Okay.
capabilities are. Yes.
So like a rider like me, I mean, pretty much Clydesdale. Hope his knees don't buckle. And maybe you want to try something different, Tad.
Get a different hobby.
So, I mean, is there? I assume there's places like this all over the place. I mean, you
There
have
really
contacts
is,
around
yes.
the United States that that.
Exactly. We've been very lucky over the years with what we do. I do no advertising. All my clientele is word of mouth.
Okay.
They see us at shows, see what we do. I'm full all the time, so I don't need to be out advertising, which there are a lot of horse farms that don't, because there are a lot out there, you just have to find them.
Okay.
We specialize in Arabians and half Arabians. 2 miles from here, there's an Appaloosa farm.
Okay.
So you go another 5 miles, you'll find a guy that just does roping and such and that. So it kind of depends on what you want to do.
What? So like, I mean, would you say you had about 27 horses in here right now, right?
Yes.
And that's full.
That's full.
And then you have some stalls down below, and
We
you
do.
do keep some horses outside.
Yes.
Where is like your horse owners from generally? Or is it literally from all over the place?
All over the
It
place.
is.
We have 2 local clients, and the rest travel or fly in to see the horses. When I say drive in, it's 4 or more hours, and then the other ones they fly. So it's a hobby for people, and it's a love of the animal. Horse crazy girls,
Yeah. It's cheap here. Can I ask you? I mean, if I had a Clydesdale here, how much would it cost me to like just keep it here?
So it's $900 a month to have it in the barn in a stall. That's
board and training.
That's board and
Yeah.
training.
Oh, and training. Too.
Yes.
What would you train a Clydesdale to?
Just go around.
Go around in circles.
Go around in circles and don't pull bubble
So I mean, I suppose you have different levels of training too. Like if you just want it saddle rope, is that a word for the term?
That is a
Okay.
term. And Tad years ago when my husband Hoyt was doing this, we were doing this together, we took everything.
Okay.
It didn't have to have 4 legs, 2 eyes, it didn't matter. We rode it, because we needed to make money. We needed to pay for our place, so we rode everything. So back then, we took anything people wanted to have in the barn get rode, and to be rode. Now we specialize in show horses.
Okay.
So I don't have the room and or time to do others, so we just do show horses. Right
So when you take a horse to a show, what are you showing? What events?
Yeah,
What events are you showing?
classes, yeah. The shows we go to are for Arabians and half Arabians, and we primarily show in the Western Pleasure Division, the Hunter Pleasure Division, and then the Working Western Division, which the Working Western Division is reining, cow horse stuff. Yep, slide, turn and such, cow horse stuff, ranch riding. Yeah, Yellowstone.
Exactly. All my horse knowledge is from
So no, it's our shows are the excitement for the owners of the horses. We do all the work at home to get them ready. The owners try to come up once a week to ride, and then the shows is the time to perform.
Do the owners generally show them, or do you guys generally show them?
I have 2 owners that do not show their horses, and those 2 owners keep 8 to 10 horses with me all the time. The rest of the horses are ridden by their owners.
Okay.
So if they don't show them, you guys show them, is it just Maddie and Justin that show them, or do you guys show them?
Primarily myself and Maddie and Justin.
Okay.
And those 2 owners are breeders. They
Okay.
breed horses, so they want their horses out there getting marketed and sold. So we're blessed to have them in our barn because that gives us opportunities to have horses to sell.
Yeah. Can I ask how much does it usually cost for a horse?
The accountant here will have that better
Well, it
idea.
depends, it depends on how good you are, I mean, there's a Class A level, which is just a normal local horse show. Those horses, 10 to 15,000 probably. A horse that's in a regional level, like our region is Minnesota and Wisconsin, but people compete at it all throughout the Midwest will come to the horse show. Those horses, 25.
Okay.
Your national horses, we have some that, what's that? $5? 1,000.
Wow.
And then, there's horses, there's a horse that's retired that's here that they paid $125,000 for.
Wow.
And, there's horses that have sold at $500,000 and not in what we do, but in our breed.
Do they recoup that money anyways?
No.
You don't win money at the
No.
shows?
You can win money,
Okay.
but it will never cover what you put into them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's training right there, right?
Yeah,
That's part
so
of it?
what Madison's doing there on the yellow horse, that's turnaround.
I don't know if they can use it.
Yeah, you
they
can.
can do that.
Yep, and then Abby's on the little bay horse there, he's a ranch horse, and then Justin's way down there on another bay horse, and that's the young reiner. Fix your hind lead, George. So no, so the horses are only worth what somebody's willing to pay.
And that's true for everything.
It is
That's true
for
for
everything.
insurance, that's true
Yeah.
for real estate. I
Yes.
mean,
But the interesting thing about horses is there's not really blue book.
No.
okay.
Okay, so, I can give you those numbers, but until it comes out, for a story, when I was working at a place before we married, over in Stillwater, and a guy that I was working for sold somebody a 20-year-old horse. Horses live to about 20, most. Sold a little girl a 20-year-old horse for, back then, $20,000 was a ton of money, okay? And everybody's like, oh my God, he screwed them people, blah, blah, blah. That girl took that horse, went all the way to the Nationals, top 10, and learned a lot in her first 5 years, okay? From that point forward, that girl won multiple national champions on various horses. So she started on a horse that, yeah, it was expensive, but that horse was well worth it
Yeah.
for that.
So everybody's got a different situation.
Right.
Yeah.
The common thing is, I want to buy my daughter a horse that she can grow up with. How old's your daughter? 5. Well, I want to buy a 5-year-old. Well,
That
no,
don't
wait
make
a minute,
sense.
it doesn't work
Yeah.
that way. You need to, when you're gonna buy a horse for a kid starting out, you want to buy them something that's going to teach them.
Okay.
And then along the way, you
So a
graduate yourself.
20-year-old horse would be pretty, you know.
Your
That would
aged
be the
horse.
best, yeah.
Yeah.
You just want a horse that lays down. I think that's kind of fit what I'm going to do with it. So
So no, and it's kind of for us, we're very proud of what we've done here because we've got numerous national champion horses here and we've never paid over $10,000 for them. We've made them.
Okay.
So we've been blessed with clients that were willing to take the risk of buying a young one, letting us develop it into a great horse and then showing it.
So a horse is born, and how soon do you get it to start training?
You know, the Arabians and half Arabians, we don't start until the fall of their 2-year-old year. So
And they're
it's,
actually, from conception to there is 3.5 years.
exactly.
So it's 3.5 years of feeding this thing until you can even start with
Feeding
you
the
guys.
mother, then feeding the foal, and then,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Yep, so a lot of times we personally do zero breeding ourselves
Yep.
because we ride everything, so we need something ready to go now. So we'll go out and buy prospects when they're two that looks good. A lot of times I like to wait till somebody's been on them to see what they look like and then we'll buy them. But then as they age, the price just keeps going up.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a risk we have to take.
You know, we've had a lot of customers that have done that. We have one customer from Rice Lake that, she purchases horses, she runs it as a business. She purchases them young, we ride them a while, then she starts showing them, and then she sells them. And then she buys another one. So she's always got something in the hopper working through.
I mean, this is just my brain working here, but so I mean, if you really want to make money on horses, buying and selling,
Yeah.
breeding, but by you guys taking these horses and, you know, national champions and, you know, showing them, I mean, I suppose selling that horse is worth money, but breeding that horse, you know, then their offspring are probably worth more.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Most of what we have are geldings, though.
You know what I mean?
The boys.
Castrated. Castrated
glad
horse.
you asked. Oh, like the piping? Okay.
No.
No, and you can, if you turn over horses, you buy young,
Snow
put,
fell through.
yeah, snow falls.
Oh,
You can't pay,
scared the crap out of the horse.
It does.
it scares the bejeebers out of it, trust me. There are days I just wanna take a deep breath and go, snow is falling off the roof, let's know someone's gonna get possibly dumped today.
Yeah.
But no, so you, if you can, if you're one of these people who goes out and goes, oh, I just found $1,000 horse. $1,000 horse.
Yeah.
1 out of 5, it might be something. And then in 2 years, you know, you put your $900 a month into it. You're gonna have to sell it for
A
quite
lot,
a little bit
yeah.
to get back. So breaking even sometimes is maybe tiny realistic, but generally no.
So, like for you guys, going back to like the beginning, I mean, you guys have an arena built up here. You have a barn down below. You know, a very nice property set up for horses. It didn't start that way, though, did it?
No.
So you guys were living in.
When we bought this place, we were in River Falls. Hoyt was in college at UW River Falls. I had just finished college.
To be a.
Radio and television broadcasting.
Sorry, I had to get that.
I was gonna be Connie Chung.
Yeah.
Half you people have no idea who Connie Chung
Connie
is,
Chung,
but but now I train horses. So we both grew up with horses. So I grew up on a dairy farm. Justin or Hoyt's parents had a boarding facility and training. So we had it in our blood that this is what we love.
This is what you both wanted to do.
Yeah, at the time. Yep. Yep. And over.
Did you always know? I mean, did you want it to be a hobby, or did you want it to be like what you did?
You know, when I went to college, it was my parents were very, you know, it's not an easy life. So
Yeah.
get a degree, make enough money, you can hire somebody to train your horse for you, and then travel with them. But you can't take the farm out of a girl
Yeah.
sometimes. It just kind of I couldn't walk away from it, and Hoyt did it and is amazing at it and is great at it, but then had hip problems and had both hips done, and now he does his accounting. So, but I stick with it because I love it. I enjoy my job,
And White doesn't do any work around here anymore.
he does do work, trust me. He's got a honey-to-do list, trust me. No, he's actually, over the years since hasn't been training horses with me, I've hired people to come in and do what he did, and they did a good job, but Hoyt does a better job. So he's actually been coming to the barn now daily and helping out with the youngsters and stuff.
So, I mean, I can imagine you guys have done a lot of remodeling over the years.
Yes.
I mean, I know the house was, but this was, I assume, was this all?
This was just a shell.
It was just a
This
shell
was
of
just
a
like a
building.
pole shed?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you guys build the walkway in between?
No, that
That
was
was
done
there.
in the lower, all it was when we bought it was the 10 stalls and the tunnel down to it from,
Was it a horse farm before?
it was.
Yes.
It was, okay.
Saddlebreds.
Okay. So it was in rough shape, but kind of,
There was a vision.
it was a visionary, okay.
It
If I
was a
could do it
rough
again.
vision.
I'd build new.
Yeah. You probably almost have by
Pretty
the
much.
time,
Yeah, so we put in all the stalls, ceiling, insulated it. Didn't have heat until 3 winters ago.
Yep.
It was rough.
Yeah.
We made it work, but finally got heat.
So I don't know, I guess, what's a typical day here? I mean, there's 27 horses that are
Yep.
all, need to be fed, obviously.
Yep.
And, I mean, do you have to put a saddle on all 27 of them every day?
So a very, very normal day. Hoyt and I are out here at 4:30 in the morning.
Gross.
Already outlined, I don't have horses.
We do all the feeding and cleaning. By 7 o'clock, Hoyt's down to the house, headed to his normal job. I start working horses. They all get out every day, 5 days a week.
Not necessarily saddled.
Not necessarily saddled. So, like, we don't work weekends. And when I say we don't work weekends, we don't work horses on weekends. We still have to come out, feed and clean, and do all that stuff. Hoyt ends up fixing things, maintenance, so on and so forth. But Monday through Fridays, every horse gets out of its stall every day. If it's not, if it's a youngster learning how to wear a saddle, to a seasoned show horse just getting in shape and doing bit and rigs on them, which means you do different things with their heads tied to a surcingle on them with a saddle. But they get out. It's the two things that train horses: repetition and sweaty saddle pads. It's all reality. So they have to be worked. If you do something over and over and over again, they're gonna get it.
So when you take them out, how long do you usually how long do you work per horse?
They determine that most times.
Okay.
If they come out and do what we ask, a good trainer knows when to quit.
Okay.
So if you get one out, they do everything. You're like, yay, this is great. Love on them, tell them they were great, put them up. Then you get the next one that just can't get it.
Okay.
So it can go from a 20-minute workout to an hour.
Oh.
It just depends.
So your day is somewhat determined on how fast these horses are actually going to get it.
Exactly.
So you could have a bad day where you
We're out here till 8, 9 at night. Yeah.
love horses.
But it's bad right now because this is our time. Our shows start in March.
Oh.
We got to get ready. But October, November, December, we're maybe riding 12, 14 horses.
Okay.
You're breaking babies, so it's not as pressure. But January 1 gets here and it's time.
So there's a certain amount of time that they kind of have off?
We like to give them all
Okay.
a break. Yep. They need time to just be a horse.
Okay.
Go outside. Everything gets to go outside, eat grass.
Are you training the ones that are outside too?
No, the ones that live outside right now are all retired show horses that they're done showing. They get to just live the life in the pastures, and or young horses that
Okay.
aren't
Are
ready
ready
to
to
grow.
start?
Yeah.
So you were saying Justin's horse is outside?
Yeah. Yes.
So and he said he hasn't been on, is it 3 months?
Yeah. So Justin has a very seasoned show horse.
Yeah,
She's been there, done it. She knows her job. So she needs a break.
okay.
She's been doing
She'll
it a long
need
time.
about 30 days,
She'll be ready to
maybe
go.
6
Okay, that's
weeks.
what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
So you bring him in, throw the saddle on it, and it's like
Yeah.
riding bike, they figure
And
it out
it's
pretty
just-
quick.
it's
She just got to get in shape.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
like athletes.
Okay.
We got to start her out slow and build her stamina back up.
Okay.
So your shows start the end of March.
Yep.
How long? How long is your season?
March to October.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well,
So you have shows pretty consistently throughout that, and then October's like nationals.
Nationals is in October.
Okay.
So I just put together our 2022 show schedule, and I've got 15 more shows on there.
Okay.
And where are the, what was that?
Minnesota, Wisconsin, South Dakota. Where do I go? Oklahoma, Brandon, Manitoba, Canada. We also try to go to Ohio this year. They have a beautiful facility in Ohio. We go to Denver. Yeah, that's about. Horse shows are what you work for.
And how many horses do you bring to it? Does it change every year? Or is it? I mean, you don't bring 27 horses to a show.
No, well, there's like our regional show, which is in St. Paul. That's the region. Our A shows we go to, you qualify to go to the regional show, and that's a big deal.
Okay.
So we've taken 22, 24 there before. Never do that again. It's overwhelming. It's extremely overwhelming. So, like right now, I keep the regional shows at 14. So I got 8 horse and a 4 horse. So in my mind, 12.
Trailer.
Yeah.
That's what I would.
So that's I keep it at 12. In reality, I keep it at 8. Then I just have to take 1 rig.
Okay.
But I gotta take 2 rigs, then Hoyt has to take off for work
Yeah.
and drive there, fly home, fly back to get us home and such. So I'd like to keep it at 8, but I can't.
And then that depends on your customer.
It
too, I
does.
suppose. I
If
mean,
they want to
if they
go,
want
you
their horse
go.
show, yeah.
Yeah, you go.
Customer's always right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like we go to Winona a lot and St. Paul.
So I mean, those you can make 2 trips. I mean,
Yes,
yeah,
that's what
I was
we end
gonna
up
say,
doing.
Okay, yeah, but like Oklahoma, that would
Yeah.
be a little tough.
You find
Yeah.
people to haul,
Okay.
local people that are
Okay.
going, and we vice versa do that for people
Also
too.
people.
Yep. Yep.
So when you're hauling the horses, do you guys have like, all right, every 3 hours we're gonna stop?
6.
6? It's every 6. Okay.
Well, we
Water
get
'em.
fuel about
Yeah.
every 2.5, 3 hours, but 6 hours into the journey, you try to water them.
Okay.
Statistically, they don't drink.
Okay.
You get 8 to 10 hours into the trip, they're getting thirsty.
Okay.
So then they will drink. There's some that won't drink at all. Then you got some that'll drink bucket after bucket. It just depends on the horse and how they travel.
Okay.
I mean, stupid question. How do you water a horse? You know, when you bring water with you.
No,
I mean,
a lot of the big truck stops we stop
They do,
at,
okay.
they have water there. And
Okay.
we just bring buckets and set them up in the mangers with their hay and let them
you
have
just
a
gotta
drink.
take an hour or so off
Yep.
from driving. Okay.
Yep, it ends up,
Which is
Hoyt's
probably
usually
kind of
20
fuels.
minutes.
Yeah.
It takes, we try to do it fast.
Okay.
So he usually fuels and Maddie and I and Justin are getting them watered and they need fresh hay and
So I mean, it's you two and your 2 kids, Matt and Justin.
Yeah.
They go to all the show. I mean, Maddie, I know goes to pretty much all of them.
yeah, Madison goes everywhere with us. She's my right hand. Justin with sports and stuff, he loves his sports.
Yeah.
So he likes to go because if he works for me, he makes good money. So he's already been asking what shows he gets to go to this year so he can make some money. So
Buy more fish and stuff.
buy more stuff. Yeah. So we're blessed that we can do this as a family. You know.
Why?
So no, and we always say if they're out here with us, they're not sitting on a
Yeah.
gadget or on
Nintendo
the
or-
house
yeah.
or something. So they play horse with us a lot, which we're very lucky.
So what kind of that's an Arabian?
That's a half Arabian, half
Okay.
quarter horse.
Okay.
He's a Palomino. He's a working Western horse. He does
Okay.
reining and ranch horse classes. His owner likes to show in horsemanship, which is judge on how the rider rides, and showmanship is how the horse leads around and does patterns on the ground and such. So it's a good horse, nice horse. He likes you,
Let's
Trent.
try it.
His name's Dude.
His name's
Dude.
Dude. Hey, Dapper Dude.
So when you were talking about the kids and stuff, Madison actually rides for other farms too sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And then like in February, she's going to Scottsdale to work for another farm.
To
horse
ride, to show their horses.
And to
And
help
to
them
work
at the
for
horse
them.
shows.
So
Oh.
she'll be doing from feeding, cleaning, grooming, lunging, bathing, doing all the
Grading.
things to get the horses ready to show. She shows interest in a career in this, and so we feel she needs to go get her feet wet at other barns and see what other places do, and find out if what we do is she loves, or is there other avenues she'd
Yeah.
like to take to do it. So she'll be gone a week February, 10 days in March. 5
Last
days in
October,
April.
she went to
He likes you.
Oklahoma and worked for a predominant farm
So
at the National.
2 different farms?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
she's worked for quite a few.
Yeah, so the word gets out, so then people reach out to us and say, hey, is Maddie available to work this show? And if we're going, no, because she works for me.
Yeah.
But if they want to fly her out, pay her a day rate,
Yeah.
and fly her home.
Are all farms exactly the same as your parents?
Now remember, this is gonna go on Facebook.
But I mean,
Yeah, she learns a lot.
just different tactics. tactics.
Yep,
or whatever.
everything.
Yeah, everything's different. Yeah.
Well, and that's why she needs to go do that, because, you know, Pam and I are set in our ways, we've been doing this 30 years. She needs to see what other people do, and then see where she's gonna fit if she ever takes over and does this stuff.
Yeah, FYI, Trent's scared to death of it.
And this one likes
We're doing
him.
good.
Nothing's running down his leg yet. So, I mean, does it vary from farm to farm? I mean, obviously, I'm sure everybody has their own way of doing things, but I mean, kind of how you're set up too. Does that change things too?
It does. It's, you know, we're a family, so we do it a family-run business. So we work. You know, there's no, I'm working 8 to 5 today.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you're
Yeah,
working till we're
till we're
done.
done, yeah.
So, you know, a lot of the farms are employed by employees. Nobody owns
Okay.
it. There's an owner, but they do nothing with it, and then
Yeah.
it's ran by employees. So every farm is different in the way they want to do things and the way they just do things.
So when you guys are talking about hunting horses, you're not talking about the style.
It's a division.
Okay,
Yep, it's
just-
a division. It's, you know, have you ever seen horses jump?
Yeah.
You know, it's that kind of equipment and such, but we don't jump. It's all about.
He might.
They like fingers. Oh, dude. But no, it's a fun life.
Nope, now you're getting way
She's doing that on purpose.
I didn't ask you to go.
You can tell Justin's over there so that he
Yeah.
doesn't irritate his coach.
So, with like the different styles, like, does the horse just focus on the one style, or do they go like all around, kind of like a gymnastics term, I guess?
So years ago, when the horses were, I don't know the word I want to use is, but they were more versatile.
Yeah, what we do in the Arabs, they're called versatile Arabians, okay? So they can do everything. You know, some people say that's a jack of all trades, master of none. Well, the Arabs have kind of pushed more towards specialization.
Yeah.
You know, so like that's a half Arab, that's a purebred, but he's bred to be a Western horse, okay? Yeah, you can't see it, but the one in that stall there is a half Arab, but is bred to be a hunter or an English horse.
Okay.
Okay, so they're different styles. I think it's interesting now, the working Western or not, okay, so when we say Western, these are Western saddles, like cowboy saddles. But our Western pleasure classes are basically, they ride in circles. Walk, trot, lope one way, turn around, walk, trot, lope the other. Judge picks who the best one was.
The prettiest,
Yeah.
most consistent in the way it performs and such.
And then now we're starting to get back to, in our breed, in all breeds actually, working Western. So these horses, the reiners, they do the spins and the slides. Then you have the cow horse stuff. Then you have trail where they do obstacles in the ring. You have horsemanship to where you're judged on what the rider does, but you also do a pattern. You know, maybe a trot over logs or do a serpentine or whatever. So these are more of a, instead of who's the prettiest, to actually working with the horse and maneuvering it and doing things.
That's gotten really popular.
right,
It gives
yeah.
gives owners more opportunities to ride and show their horse
Okay.
and be more comfortable and relaxed. And you know, and back when the horses were, as Hoyt was saying, you know, kind of did everything, our horses are now bred specific for things. So they're
Okay.
specifically bred to be a great Western pleasure horse, or they're specifically bred to be a great working Western horse. So it's changed, it's evolved.
So what made you guys choose Avery, like that breed of
Arabian?
horses? Yeah, Arabian horses.
Because we started there.
That's what
Okay.
that's what we had
Just
growing
haven't
up.
changed yet?
No.
And
Probably won't.
it's funny, you get very used to how they are versus a different breed, you know. Every
We train-
breed is different, and we've trained a lot of different ones, but we always fall back to really loving what the Arabians do.
Well, and
They're
it's kind of like
sensitive.
anything, you know, if you build, you know, like let's say you're a realtor, you move to Texas, are you gonna have the same following as a realtor when you move there? No. So we've been in the Arabs.
Oh, I see,
So
yeah.
we know people in the Arabs,
What was the other one you said was a few miles up the road? What they sell?
Appaloosas.
I was gonna say have some of an apples, but so. But I mean, like if you go to shows, you know, they're known for that. You know, so if you started doing them, you'd show up to shows and it'd be a whole different group of
Whole
people that
different
don't even know who you are.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Sorry about that. We had a little technical difficulty, but we should be back online now.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. You know, it's been a couple of times. We'll get it done. But I was saying how when I was a kid driving by, not knowing that this was a business, so it's pretty unique that we actually got to come in here and see what you guys do, and it's kind of just unbelievable. You know, when you drive by, you don't think, hey, they have 27 horses.
Yeah, for people all over the United States.
Yeah.
And
It's not just a crazy horse lady.
Well,
so just maybe one final question: How many times have you trained a horse, or one of your kids, or one of your riders, or you guys had a horse here that won like a national championship?
Oh, man.
I mean, isn't that many?
We've been very
Okay.
blessed.
Okay.
We've been very blessed. We,
So it's not just one or two. It's
no, you know, back when we were first married, it was a big deal for Hoyt or I to win. It was like, oh my gosh, we won. And it is a big deal to win, but the work to get there is more rewarding when you see that in the end. And we have been blessed over the years, especially Maddie and Justin they put in their time, they paid their dues, and they've been blessed. And our clients too, if they work at it, you get results.
Cool.
It's like anything.
and if you had them, like your kids have rode their own horses and won, your kids have rode other people's horses
Correct.
and won,
Correct.
your clients have rode their own horses and won.
Correct.
So I mean, you kind of that's cool.
Yeah, it's the most rewarding part. You know, horse shows are the most exciting part of the business because that's where it shows if you did your homework
Yeah.
when you get there.
Maybe you don't want to answer this, but do you ever have trouble with your clients when they want to ride their own horses? Like you want them to do it a certain way, and are you kind of training people sometimes? a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit?
Oh, yeah.
No, that's
Okay.
that's the exciting part. You know, when I was younger and showing, you get excited. I get to show this horse. I get to go have fun. And then as you get older, you're like, it's more fun to teach the
Somebody else,
rider
okay.
to show the horse and have the success, to see the look on their face
Cool.
when they've accomplished that dream and goal. So
So if somebody doesn't want to name their horse, can me and Tad
sure.
get on it?
Yeah, you guys can start naming them.
Nice. Good. I can't wait. We're gonna have some good ones. Oh.
So no, if our schedule would ever open up more, Maddie and I and Hoyt and Justin have talked about doing some like horse camps and things
Oh, cool.
for kids in the community to come and just have some hands-on horse stuff. We'll let you know, and you can let people know if we decide to do something like that.
How about for adults that are scared of horses?
We could do that
Okay.
for sure.
costs a little more.
A horse acclimation.
I just got acclimated. I've had a horse.
Good.
I'm doing good. It's just crazy. So another like weird thing of me shouldn't be the way that I am. Like we had horses. Like my grandma and grandpa, they had 2 horses when I was growing up. So like I was kind of around horses as a kid too. I just once again zero interest in it. Didn't want to be around them.
Yeah.
I've been kicked really hard twice in my life, and I'm not so. I'm okay with the front end of them, but the back end of them makes me nervous.
They probably say the same thing about you.
Yeah. Fair. That's fair.
Well, thank you guys again.
Oh, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Once again, Shop Talk with TnT. I'm Trent Nyhus, Farmers Insurance and Nyhus Agency.
Tadd Peterson, LakePlace.com, Brothers Realty.
So thank you
Hey,
guys.
Fuck you, Trent.
You're starting stuff.
That's how we know. Yeah.